Hello everyone and welcome to the Extreme TIG channel. For today's video guys, I'm gonna show you a technique that will never fail you no matter what material type you're using. Works on chrome, works on carbon, and works on stainless steel material. So for example here I got a 42-inch, this is chrome P5. It's a vertical weld, half-inch thickness of material. Connecting the flange or reducer to the bottom of a reactor. As you can see here, the pipe is already tagged by day shift, as we're working in the 2 shifts to get this thing done. Chiclets are already installed. It's 350 Fahrenheit preheat. As you can see, gap is not perfect. We tried to open, actually day shift tried to open it a little bit. So we got a loose 18532 gap. As you can see here, the bevel is kind of straight. It is a feather edge. Okay, now I'm gonna, for the purge, gonna use 5 purge hoses with a fuser on the top. I'm just gonna insert in a 2-inch drain we got here at the bottom. And I'm just gonna tape with aluminum tape just in case if they don't start melting in a case of heat or something. As I said, the gap is not perfect. It's a half-inch thickness, 42-inch pipe. The main goal is to put the root in and wait for it's a closure weld procedure. So with any closure weld procedure, after root they got to do empty on the root pass, and then after that you go to do a hot pass fill and the gap. As I said, 350. We're waiting for chiclets to, they're gonna probably bring the heat up a little bit. As you can see that temp stink is not melting, so the temperature is not reached yet, so we're not allowed to weld. In the meantime, we are purging with the 5 hoses, around 60 liters per minute on each hose. It's connected to the argon manifold. It's taped, so we left for an hour and a half approximately. We got that 1 inch on the top, that's for the vent. We set up dams inside. It's a big job, especially with the big pipe. I like to do the big pipe, but there's lots of work. As for my side, as I'm working with a partner, he's doing one side, I'm doing the other side. I'm using 2 torches, 150 amps rated each torch, standard 8-inch cup with a 1/8 tungsten. The purge seems alright. We've been purging for an hour and a half, 2 hours already, so the purge should be good. And we're just gonna start welding. He's gonna start welding on the bottom, I'm gonna start welding on the side. 135 amps for the root pass. The techniques I mentioned earlier on the beginning of the video, this technique that I already showed in previous videos, I like to use it especially when you got uneven gap, especially when it's 100% X-ray. It's a dipping technique, guys. That technique will never fail you. You just have to adjust your travel speed. That's the most important thing here. You don't want to pause too much. It might just drop down. You can open even more. That creates even bigger gap for you. The most important thing is adjust your travel speed, adjust your settings, adjust your amps that you can actually handle, and side to side dip each time. You're not gonna fail, you're not gonna have any issues. The wire will do the rest. The main thing is burn those edges, break those walls, and fill it with a wire. As I said, dipping technique is the best, especially on stuff like this. You can do lay wire as well here, but then you have to go fast, 532. I'm not saying you cannot do it, you can, but for a high-low and for an uneven gap like here, dipping technique definitely is a technique to go. As I said, this is a chrome example. You can do on a carbon, you can do on a stainless steel. I did on all of them, never had any issue, and you're never gonna fail. So the main idea is welding between the tacks, as we both work on the opposite sides. We don't want to insert any air inside, we don't want to grind. So the idea is just weld between the tacks. And once we both done with the root between tacks, then we're gonna cut out the tacks with the grinder. So for the stop starts, always preheat your start. As you can see here, I'm traveling a little bit faster, 135. Especially one side I get like really straight edge. It is beveled, it's a feather edge, but it's the bevel, it's not 37 angle degree, it's just a straight edge. And he's still doing his side, and he's about to done. Once he's finished, then we're gonna cut the tacks out. As I started on the top, he was on the bottom. Now I'm waiting for him to finish, then I'm gonna switch to the bottom and finish on the bottom. It's a little bit tighter here, but it's still loose 1/8. As long as you can wiggle that 1/8 in between the gap, that's a good gap. Nothing wrong with it. Just breaking the walls and adding that wire. The good thing with the dipping technique, you can control the amount that you're actually putting in that root. For the bottom section, it might work a little bit different. You want to keep it inside that bevel, inside the root when you're doing overhead. But you can do dipping technique as well on the bottom part. The big issue with a big pipe when you're welding, especially at the bottom part, especially on the overhead part, you don't have that. You have to feed a long wire. You have to keep it inside, but because the diameter of the pipe, you don't have that. It's a little bit harder to control, so it might give you a little bit issue. It's a good habit if you cut the wire in half and then keep it inside. Okay, now we're gonna cut the tacks. Tacks are cut out. Once you cut your tacks, try to clean your bevel inside, so you don't want to have any obstacles, especially for the hot pass later. You don't want to have any obstacles, so you can walk the cup, set up. The purge is still running, same thing. Just gonna grind all stop starts after we remove all tacks, cover it again with the tape, and then we can start. We usually around half an hour, 45 minutes. Should be good, as you can see here. So as I said, for the stop starts and preheat to start point, and then when you go on a tie-in point, you just go over it like a ½ inch, adding wire as needed. I'm still on a 135 1/8 rod, ADS B2. As I said, this is a chrome P5. The most important thing with, especially for the existing part of the spool, it's because the product that was running inside, you really want to clean that at least 5 inches from that edge of your bevel. You want to really have it clean. The issue with stuff like with the big stuff like this, it's chiclets. They're really, they get hot after a while, and you have to have a proper PP, good leather jacket or a leather sleeve, so you can. That's what I like to do. Is when I'm holding my wire, when I'm adding wire, feeding that rod, I like to put my knuckles on a pipe. When it gets too hot, you might start shaking and lose a little bit control. Just the main thing is just to support yourself. Okay, as I said here on a tie-in, go slow when you tie in, add wire is needed, and then just go over 1/2 inch. Okay, now I'm just gonna finish the last part I got on the bottom. And that's it, my part is done. I'm just waiting for my partner to finish other side, then we can call for QC. They have to do MT on the root pass. As I said, this is a closure weld procedure. And good habit, just to run the grinder a little bit on your root pass, just in case if you dip any tungsten around, so you just want to get rid of that, especially for the X-ray later. So 180 for the hot pass, same rod size, 1/8. Cup steel 1/8, tungsten 1/8 and cup size 8. As long as the cup can wiggle inside and you can actually move nice and fast, you can switch maybe to size 10, depends from the gap size. But in this case, cup 8 is good. 180 for the hot pass. I'm not really worried about the sag back as root. The only thing, guys, I forgot to take a shot video, record my actually root inside on both sides of me and my partner. They were kind of in rush. They were really excited to get that MT done. They want to start this unit up and running, so they really. Too many people were around, so wasn't really have a chance to record the root inside. But the most important thing, find your settings, keep your tungsten always sharp, and travel speed and the settings, set up, you know how much you can handle. And just keep going. That's it pretty much. Don't pause too much, you know. You wanna side to side. You wanna spread that puddle on the both sides, you know, side to side motion. Okay, and this is the hot pass. So the hot pass is done. Now when the hot pass is done, they already did the MT on the root. So after hot pass, now I'm gonna do one more pass of fill, as it's almost the end of the shift, so I won't be able to finish all that spool in one shift. So I'm gonna go 200 amps for the fill pass. Same thing, switch to the cup 10, and I'm gonna start from the bottom. Start from the bottom, going up, finish one side, and then I gotta finish other side. Good habit here, I'm gonna show you guys just to roll roll your wrist. It's a good habit, especially if you get tired, you know, your hand and get fatigue or something. Then you can roll, you can easy switch your position, and it's gonna be easier for your body. It works on the root too as well. Especially on the heavy stuff, you know, after root, hot and fill, you're getting tired. Your hand gets sore, and it's good to switch, good to change, so you don't have to stop. As I said, 200 amps, same technique, and that's it pretty much for the fill. The rest of the day shift finish, and it's gonna be probably fill and cap with a stick. Not too bad for 12-hour shift.